Good afternoon and welcome to Praise Break Live, Saturday Praise Break Live, St. John style. It's your boy DJ JayP. Here we go, y'all. Saturday Praise Break Live. We got another great show for you this Saturday.
With tears rolling down your face, with your heart feeling like it's going break.
It's Saturday Praise Break Live, y'all. St. John. Tell a friend, share the link, Saturday Praise Break Live.
Just remember where your help comes from. Realize you got somewhere to run. Don't worry about what you're going through. Instead of worrying, here's what you can do. Praise him anyway. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You should praise him anyway.
When Jesus said yes, nobody can
Say yes.
When Jesus
Beyonce, Michelle.
nobody can say
When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no, y'all. That's it. Here we go. We're going to throw it over to my co-host. Here we go, y'all. Saturday Praise Break Live, St. John style.
I'm not worried.
These are the news and updates for the St. John Church.
Census. That's a word that is hot around here. So, Nikki, a question for you. Have you
Okay.
completed the 2020 census?
I have.
So have I, but
Okay.
guess what? There are so many people who hadn't done it yet. It only takes 10 minutes to complete the 2020 census. And the deadline is September 30th, so it's coming right around the corner. And I have a statistic I want to share with you.
Okay.
You would think in Texas that is so important about this, that you would think our participation rate would be 100%,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Okay.
It's not even 90%.
What is it?
It's not even 80%, 58% response rate. So we have a lot of work to do, Saints, because if we are not counted, we are not seen. If we're not seen, we are not heard. So make sure that you are using your voice and power and fight for the equity by filling out the census, because you count. Responding to the census, make sure that we have the necessary resources within our neighborhoods and our community. And we want our communities to look like all the other communities, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you can choose to respond online, like Nick and I, or by phone, or even by mail. They have made it so easy. So complete the census online at 2020census.gov, or you can just simply call the phone number on your screen. HBCU Virtual Summit. So I'm talking to the college bound and the parents.
Okay.
So did you miss our first historically black colleges and university virtual summit? Well, guess what? No need to worry, because we got your back. In the next Power Pack discussion, the experts, they're going to break down what's life like on the yard.
Lots of parties.
I'm sure it's lots of partying,
Okay.
but lots of learning as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
absolutely.
But that's going to be a very good discussion.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
going to take place on August 29th.
Okay.
But there's another very important session that's going to take place on September 12th
What's that?
at 1 p.m. And it's all about how will you pay for your education at the HBCU.
Now, that one's important because
Very
a lot of
important.
students and parents think that it's only loans, right? So there's options out there available, so make sure you tune into that session.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Registration is open right now, so visit the website, sjbcfamily.com, for all the latest details.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
Hey.
And mark your calendar for Well Dressed Women, a virtual Women of Victory event that will be held on Saturday, September the 12th from 10 a.m. to 11:30, streaming on Facebook.
Wow.
Now, Derek, check this out.
What's that?
There's going to be a red table discussion with some tea,
Mm-hmm.
but no entanglements.
No entanglement lives here.
That's right. Lots of wisdom, a special praise team, and a mighty word from Pastor Cindy Diggs.
Wow. And I think you said something about well-dressed women. So all those ladies who's participating, they get a chance to do what?
Dress up,
right?
That's right.
That is going to be awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So speaking of women, the Women's Bible Study. So we need for you to join in for the discussion of Get Out of Your Head. That is a 6-session video-based Bible study designed to check your emotions. It's designed to check on your outlook. It's designed to even check on your circumstances by taking control of what? Your thoughts.
Now, I definitely need to attend that session because I'm always thinking too much. I'm always in my head worrying about the next step, worrying about the next day. So this is going to be so instrumental for us to log in
Absolutely.
and tune into this important information.
Absolutely. And the registration, it is available on our website, sjbcfamily.com. Go there, register to receive your Zoom meeting ID. The times and date are every Sunday at 8:15, starting August 16th, and then every Thursday at 7 p.m., starting August 20th.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Members, it's time to register for our fall victory groups. The groups include grief share, divorce care, single and parenting classes. And I so appreciate the church offering these especially event groups because it provides the support that's needed during your most difficult time in your life.
Absolutely. And you can register at the website, right?
Absolutely.
sjbcfamily.com. And like you were saying, I think it's great that the church is investing in our members to provide that support. That's so important. And as always, we do encourage you to stay engaged by visiting the website, sjbcfamily.com. You got to stay connected. You got to stay engaged, people, so you will know what's going on. You can also follow us on all the major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. While we do miss gathering in the sanctuary, in the actual physical building, you know, Nikki, I miss that. But guess what, saints? The church actually lives within us. Okay, so keep that in mind. So until then, SJC, continue to inspire the sinner, ignite the disciple, and impact society with the message of Jesus Christ. I'm Derek Williams.
I'm Nikki Caesar Small.
Be blessed.
Hello, happy Saturday and welcome. My name is Chantel Modeste, and I am a former elementary classroom teacher / literacy specialist. I now operate my own tutoring business, Literacy Education Center, and I'm happy to be with you. And I will let you meet my daughter, who's also here with me today.
Hello, I am Madeline Grace Modeste. I live in Texas, Louisville, Texas, and I am 10 years old.
Thank you so much. And I am Valerie Fields Hill. I'm a member here at the St. John Baptist Church, St. John Church Unleashed of Grand Prairie and Southlake. And we're happy that you're with us here at Saturday Praise Break Live. Today is August 22nd, and Madeline and Chantel, I'm so happy to be with each one of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
St. John, please mark your calendars for the upcoming events on our church calendar. Couples, join the marriage ministry September 19th for a fun and flirty virtual swing dance lesson taught by our very own Jeffrey Leggins. The cost is $10 per couple. Registration is required. Visit our website for more information. Friday, September 4th, is Promotion and Family Drive-In Night. We're celebrating the last semesters of 6th graders, who now are 7th graders, and we are cheering their move from the children's ministry to the chosen youth ministry. Parents pre-registration is required for this event as well, and for each family. Visit our website for more information. Chantel, it's great to be here with you. Madeline, it is wonderful to be here with you. Madeline is an author, and I'm so excited about this. We have you here, and we also have a hard copy of your new book, which is just out. How exciting is it to release a book at 10 years old?
It's very exciting.
I can only imagine. It's one of my dreams as well, to write a book. Yes. Was it always a dream to write a book?
Yes.
Really? Did you always have the idea for the book?
Yes.
That as well. That absolutely amazes me. I think you probably surprised your mom a little bit, though, when you came up with this idea for a book. Tell me about what that was, and how did you describe to your mom that you wanted to not just write the book, but publish the book?
So, I came up to my mom and, well, me and my mom were watching this video about a young girl named Marley Diaz, and my mom was like, you know, you can write a book. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I can write a book.
Did you imagine, though, that it would be from book written on paper to this?
No, not really.
Not really. So, what was the research like for you as a 10-year-old trying to figure out how to get it published?
Well, the research was I wanted to be an author. I wanted to make money as a child.
Now, exactly what were you going to do with this money?
Well, I'm going to use it wisely.
Wisely. I love that, Madeline. What does that mean? Maybe adults can learn from that.
I'm going to use it. I'm not going to use it on something wasteful.
Yes, I understand. So is there just one thing that as an author who's published, who now has a book on Amazon that is selling, is there one thing that you really would like to get for yourself?
Well, there is one thing. I would like to use this money on college.
And you're going to be in college, I would imagine, a bit earlier than maybe some of our traditionally matriculating students,
Yes.
because you've got a lot going on.
Yes.
So that's amazing. So the book is available on Amazon, and it sells for
$11.99.
$11.99. Okay, well, everyone out there, the title of Madeline's book is Mariella Can't Wait. And Mariella Can't Wait by Madeline Grace Modeste is the story of a young girl, a young African-American girl, as a matter of fact, who is waiting on something.
Yes.
How old is Mariella?
10 years old.
Oh, so she's 10 years old like you. Okay.
Yes.
So Mariella is that main character, and then there's Mariella's grandmother, who's a character in the book, whom Mariella is waiting on a gift
Yes.
from, and the grandmother lives out of state.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And so Mariella also has a family.
Yes.
Who's a part of her family?
Her cat, Thelma, and her mom and dad.
All right, so her cat Thelma. Now, how'd you come up with Thelma as a name for the character for the cat?
Well, I just came up with it by just thinking.
That's cute, Madeline. Thank you so much. And I see your mom just kind of beaming in pride. When your daughter comes to you at 10 years old and has a dream that is so large, how do you take that how do you interpret that as a parent of a 10-year-old wanting to do something on such a large scale as publish a book?
Well, I've always tried to instill just early on the need to be academically sound and to be confident, as you see her today. And I'm sure that's rooted in my own parents and also my background in education. I've been in education for 20 years now, and I've seen an array of things in the classroom as a classroom teacher as well as a reading specialist working with other teachers. And so I knew early on that I wanted to instill all of those great literacy foundational skills that I myself had been trained to do with other children in my professional endeavors. So it's just been a drip here and a drip there of encouraging and promoting and modeling great reading and writing and thinking at home.
Yes. So you were, I'm sure, watching her writing develop not just as a parent, but also as someone who understands literacy and the development of literary elements in a book. When she wrote the book, did you feel that this book was something that was publishable?
I did. I knew you often hear about writers having a spark. And this story is loosely based on an incident with her. And she's just such a bubbly and a lively kid. And I thought, that's a story. That's a story right there. She has many stories in her. So I knew that this was one that we could start, could be the impetus for many, many more stories later on. But it's one of those things you just kind of know. I know my child since I've been homeschooling her for the last, we're entering into year 3. She'll be a 5th grade this year. And so I know her on a real intimate level as an educator as well as a parent. So it's just been great to see her blossom and to know what makes her tick and how she thrives. And so I think that insight of homeschooling her has helped me help develop her academic skills.
Right. And so, Madeline, you don't just have a book in you. I was sharing or talking with your mom prior to today's broadcast, and I understand that you have another dream.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
My other dream is to be a doctor when I grow up, and an author.
A doctor and an author. So I like that, Madeline. I think it's possible. I absolutely believe in you.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, so the book is Mariella Can't Wait. And not only it is written by Madeline Grace Modeste. And so one of the things that I found fascinating as I read your book is that your main character, who is Marielle or Marielle?
Mariella.
Mariella. Okay, so your main character is an African-American 10-year-old who also has natural hair.
Yes.
Did that resonate with some of the readers? And why did you choose that she would have natural hair? That means unprocessed hair, unpermed hair. And so that's fascinating to me.
I choose that because she looks just like me.
Oh, she looks like you. Okay, so you are natural. You are wearing braids. Yes. When you were looking at books, and you shared earlier that you really enjoy reading, were you able to find books that with characters like Mariella?
Well, not really, but some.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I do think that I like the idea that she has these big puffballs.
Yes.
So it reminds me of my own daughters who wear big puffballs, and they have naturally curly hair as well. One of the things that your main character does in the book is she's expecting a gift from one of the other characters. Can you tell me about the journey of her waiting for this gift?
Well, her journey is she waits and waits, and she bakes her favorite red velvet cupcakes with her mom, and she watches her favorite baking show on Netflix.
And she's waiting on a gift from her
grandmother.
From her grandmother.
Yes.
Now, how closely aligned is Mariella with your own life?
Well, she's the same as me. She's cute like me, and she's smart like me, and she's funny like me.
I believe you. I believe you. You are cute and you are smart. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us. And she has a cat like you as well.
Yes.
She has a cat, and the cat is Thelma in the book. So she does learn a lesson in this book. The lesson is focused around the idea of patience. Why was that lesson for Mariella important to you as a writer?
Because sometimes she gets impatient.
Sometimes she's impatient.
Yes.
Yes. Is that somewhat like you?
Yes.
I can imagine. I can imagine. As a 10-year-old, it's sometimes difficult to wait for something. Mm-hmm. Yes. What were your lessons? Were there lessons that you learned from either through your character or in the process of waiting? on this, your character is waiting on a gift from her grandmother. Is there a lesson that you learned through writing the book?
Being patient.
Being patient for sure?
Yes.
Well, that sounds like a winner, yes. I'm often telling my two daughters that they need to wait, and it's the hardest thing. So I'm glad now there's a book, and I can share with them. Mariella waits.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure that there are many young girls who are going to be excited about that book, and already, as a mother, Chantel, you have had some feedback from some of the purchasers on Amazon of Madeline's book.
Yes, correct. It's been overwhelming. I didn't expect it to be so well received as it has been. At Amazon.com, if you go on Amazon and Google the title, Mariella Can't Wait, or her name, you can read all the great feedback and reviews about the book. Many of the reviews are even from adults that has no children, but they said they gain lessons about learning to be patient, even as adults, as we're waiting. This kind of started out as a quarantining project, as we were quarantining and trying to get through the trials and toils of quarantining. So I'm just so proud that parents and children alike have really received the book so well.
Well, we're excited about that as well. So the book is Mariella Can't Wait. It's available on Amazon for $11.99. Please Google either the title of the book or the title of the author. That's Madeline Grace Modeste. And thank you so much for joining us. We are going to our next segment here. So, and the DJ, let's get it going.
JayP in the mix.
Ooh, my soul has got to
Okay, we would.
There's a leak in this old building, y'all, and my soul has got to move. I've got another building, a building I made. This old building.
How many of y'all almost let go? Don't let go. Dwayne Woods. Hold on, y'all.
I couldn't seem to fall asleep. There was so much on my mind, searching for that peace, but the peace I could not find. So then I kneeled down to pray. Pray, help me please. Then he said, you don't have to cry, 'cause I'll supply all your needs. As soon as I stopped worrying,
St. John, don't let go on this Saturday.
how the story ends. When I let go, and I let God, let him have, let God have his. That's when the bread of life
How many of y'all know this one?
sent down from
You are the living word, Fred Hammond.
many things. You were on earth, a holy king, a carpenter, but you are the living word.
Come on. How many of y'all know he was sent down from glory?
Many things you were on earth, a holy king, a carpenter.
You are the living word.
One time with us. Bread sent down from glory.
Many things. Come on, somebody say it.
You were
A carpenter.
awesome ruler. It didn't work, no. You put him second and put you first. You trusted friends, thought they had your back. And every time
Mr. Marvin Sapp.
around,
He just wants you to listen.
Under attack, yeah. But turn to your neighbor and say, see, the devil is alive. No, I'm not gonna die. It's okay to cry, cause he's by your side. You gotta stop that hating. I know you don't wanna hear it. Gotta fast and pray and listen to the Spirit, cause he's speaking to your heart right.
God's trying to tell you something.
Just listen to the Spirit. Oh, hold up.
How many of y'all know he's excellent?
To show our love to him. Come on, lift your voice and sing. To him.
How many of y'all know he's excellent on this Saturday afternoon? This one goes out to Destiny. How you doing, Miss Glenda? Annette, how you doing today? Miss Flora, how you doing today?
To the King.
This one goes out to Memphis, Tennessee. Deacon Wooten and family.
People are dying.
Y'all know we need him to pull us through.
And people are crying for a savior to come and save us from this world. Now, God, I'm calling your name, 'cause my world does need change. In Jesus' name. So, God, we need you to pull us through.
This one goes out to Pastor Davis.
Change has come over me. He changed my life, and now I'm free. He washed away all my sins and he made me.
A change has come over me.
He washes me white as snow. He changed my
He changed me.
please, and now I sit at his feet to do what must be done. I'll work and work until he comes. A wonderful change.
A little old school gospel. Commodores, Jesus is Love, y'all. How many of y'all remember listening to this one on Sunday mornings with Mama them?
Father, help your children and don't let them fall
By the side
by the side of the road. And teach them to love one another, that heaven might find a place in their hearts. 'Cause Jesus is love.
He saw the best in me when everyone else
How many of y'all know he saw the best in us?
could only see the worst in me. Can I tell y'all one more time? I said he saw the best in me when everyone else around me could only see the worst in me. I wish I had a witness tonight. All I need is one. Hey, he saw the best in me.
When everyone else around me,
Around me, yeah. Could only see the worst in me. Does anybody have that testimony? When folk walked you off, said you would never
Music. Thank you. We do have some questions from Facebook, and we're going to go right into one of those questions. And that question is for you, Chantel, in reference to the publishing process. Just as a reminder for those of you who are just joining us, Chantel is the mother of Madeline Grace Modeste, who is a 10-year-old publisher of the book Mariella Can't Wait. And that book is self-published. It is now selling on Amazon, and it is available for $11.99. The question is, tell us more about your process for getting her book published.
Okay. So let me just start from the beginning. I wish I could take credit for all of it, but one of the things that we're afforded with homeschooling is that we have so many resources at our fingertips. And so there's a resources that I often utilize, and it's outschool.com. And if you go to that site, there's a plethora of classes that you can sign your child up to take. And so I wanted her to really love writing. Because sometimes writing in schools is taught as this laborious thing that you have to do. But I wanted her to learn to want and have the desire to write, to be motivated to write. So I thought, if she knew at the end of this writing process that there would be a product, such as a book, she would be more apt and more motivated to write. And so I went to outschool.com, and literally I think I Googled writing class in the search, and I found a real book author who teaches classes on that platform. And so I immediately signed her up and told her we were doing it. And so she had 5 classes. She had to log in once a week on Zoom. 5 classes with, I believe, 5 other students, peers of close to her age. And so for an hour a week for 5 weeks, the book author, her writing coach, slowly, gradually took her through the writing process. The pre-writing, the drafts, the actual writing, the punctuation. She had to correct spelling and go through all of those things that you're normally taught in school. But once again, she knew she had this greater product at the end, and she was motivated more to sit through that lengthy process for 5 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. So the creative process involved her with another teacher who probably, just like her mom, really enjoyed writing herself.
Yes.
And so from the creative process and from the idea of the book and actually literally writing, how do you move from writing to actually finding someone who can produce the physical product?
Okay. So after that 5 weeks was finished, after she completed the writing portion of that, her writing coach did offer and extend a little bit more guidance on how to get it published. And I thought, well, let's just do this. I don't think anyone else in the class chose that option, but I did. I wanted this to be something meaningful and purposeful for Madeline. And so we literally just went through a process on what's known as Canva. And on Canva, that's where you upload all of your text and pictures. And so we were guided through this writing coach on how to do all of these great things. And then I did learn about how to self-publish on Amazon ourselves. So thanks to Amazon, you can just self-publish yourselves now. The old days of having a publisher is no longer needed because Amazon does it all for you. So the process probably took a month to write and maybe 3 or 4 weeks to actually get it published on Amazon. And I was amazed myself at how fast and not as hard as one would think how easy it was.
Wow, that's really exciting. And a part of the process of actually moving from text to publishing is also searching for someone to illustrate. Mm-hmm. So Madeline is the writer, but someone else is credited in the book as the illustrator. What was that process like?
So I am, I mentioned earlier, I do have a private tutoring business, and so I'm kind of on the inside of online marketing and all these different pieces that helps me kind of be out in the mainstream, advertising what I do as a private tutor. And so I was knowledgeable in the area of how to find different resources on how to build my own website and all those different things. And one of the resources that I knew about is a resource known as Fiverr. I believe it's Fiverr. And you go to Fiverr.com, it's a freelance website where you can put in, just Google whatever you're looking for. And so I hired an illustrator to illustrate her book for me.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. As a matter of fact, the illustrator has done a fairly good illustration here of actually Madeline. Did she feel as if Mariella looked a bit like her?
She did, because part of the process with the illustrator was back and forth, and the illustrator, and I had to explain and tell the illustrator, describe Madeline to the illustrator, African-American girl, natural hair. And so she would, shoot me back a sample of her work, and I would just bring Madeline in and ask Madeline, do you like this? Does this look like you? And so there were some changes over the course because Madeline knew how she wanted to look in this book, and so she played a huge role in that. But yes, it was just back and forth with the illustrator, and I believe she hit the mark. She did well for us.
It's a very, very colorful book. I like the idea that Madeline has, or the main character, Mariella, has these big brown eyes. And so that's really, I'm sure, one of the things that is attractive about the book for other girls who are 10 years old.
Yes.
So it's not just the hair, but very much the large eyes and even the size, so I like that a lot. So once the illustrations were there, then we go from coupling the illustrations to the text.
Yes.
What was that like?
So at that point, that's when I believe I took all full autonomy, and I went on to Amazon. It's known as Amazon KDP. It's where you self-publish, and I had to upload the text and the pictures and go through and work on the margins and the dimensions and tell the Amazon whether I wanted black and white or colored. So I had to literally go to a site, it's Amazon KDP, and I uploaded all of these great things that you now see produced as a book.
Absolutely. Wow, that's pretty exciting and quite the learning process.
It was.
And the real Madeline Grace is on the back of the book.
Yes.
And there's Madeline with her cute self, I agree, with all of that natural curly hair. It's all over. So powerful and such a great look. So quite the young lady you have. You must be really proud.
We are. Her dad and I, we are very proud of her.
You should be. You absolutely should be. So we are going to talk a little bit about where a number of parents are going, coming into our next segment. So one of the things I'd like to talk to you about is the anxiety that so many of us are feeling at the process of being at home and being our own teachers, particularly for parents who are not teachers by trade. You've got a 3-year lead on us by being, have transitioned already from the classroom to your own home and being your daughter's teacher. So I know that there's probably not any single advice that you could give, but is there some comfort that you can give to parents who are going into this fall with a sense of anxiety about what am I going to do from mid-August to December with my child through this process?
Well, one great thing I have a Facebook group because I'm an advocate for parents. I am working on my dissertation, and it's African Americans, the influence of African American parents on their child's reading. And so my ear is to parents, and I've sensed the stress and the worry. And one thing that I have, the silver lining of all this, is that parents now see their children in a different light. They know their children better now since they've been home with them, homeschooling from March to now. And so one positive thing is that now you know the things that are the strengths of your child. And so I would just, advise parents to lean into what you've learned about your child academically and take that and run with it. Of course, I'm an advocate for literacy and reading. One thing that I think parents if you can find that, earmark that hour a night to truly read good books. Especially culturally relevant books like Madeline's book, a book that speaks to your child's who they are at heart. And also write, just write. You can't go wrong. I think a part of what the struggle is, a lot of times our students are motivated to do these things that's already in them. So I'm glad to know that parents are right now in position to be more intimate, just like I am with Madeline. I know Madeline so well because I'm with her all day long. I'm with her all day, and I teach her, and so I know what things she likes, and so I know what books to pick for her. I'm going through a list of books now that I want to integrate and start this Monday. We're going to start homeschooling officially Monday, and I know that because we have conversations. So that would be another tip that I would offer to parents. Have conversations with your child. Use those conversations as a stepping stone to write about what they're talking about. There's something known as talk, write, read, write. And the more you talk and the more you conversate, the more knowledge that you're helping them develop, and now in turn they can write for you. So I think mainly just really get to know your children, conversate, and use that as a way to be a bridge to deeper reading and deeper writing for them.
Right. Yes. It's incredibly exciting for me to actually have the opportunity to be home with my two students, one in college and the other one who is a 10th grader now, and to actually see those things that you're talking about. What do they really enjoy reading? What do they really enjoy writing about? And some of the things that I've learned have been incredibly useful to me about their passions, what they're really, really interested and engaged in. So in terms of writing, though, I know that there are many resources out there. I'm often encouraging the parents that I know to have their students write. Is there a resource that you particularly like as a go-to to helping parents to understand the structure of writing?
Well, you know what my go-to resource is for writing? Is read. I often, even now, when Madeline and I read, I'll point out, look how this author introduced this chapter. So the best resource for a writer is to be able to be a reader. And so it sounds simple on the surface, but as you're reading, take note of the words that they're using to make the writing more vivid and more interesting. So that's one of the things that I do when we read together. Look at what this author, look how she decided to construct that sentence. Look at the adjectives that you use to make that sentence a little bit more complex and complicated. So that's one of the things, the great thing about reading that I love about reading is that you can teach all subjects and all content areas just from a book. Oftentimes I read a book about math, and so she learned a math lesson from literature. So that's just the beauty of me being able to be at home and not being tied to any curriculum. I can just kind of go and follow her personal needs and desires.
Right. One of the things that I would tell parents is to find a content area that your child likes to read about. So if that is books that are highly illustrated, would you be okay with that? I have, for example, a goddaughter who has a 10 or 11-year-old, and she likes to read books that are illustrated. So I have tried to encourage her to start there, but then move on. Are you okay with the highly illustrated books that are out there on the market now?
I am, because it gets them wanting to read, but however, I would also just add to encourage a little bit more challenging text. But anything that's going to get them started. They have to get started first. They can't complete and get well or do well at anything unless they get started. I told you graphic novels are a great way to engage children. So, yes, perfect starting place.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Thank you so much. And we see the product of your work. So in Madeline Grace, that is absolutely wonderful that your daughter has embraced reading and writing as she has. And so I hope that she is going to be an inspiration to a lot of students who are her age. That's exciting for me. So.
And I would love for parents to go to my website. I think I gave you the link, and they can register for a webinar that I'm having this Wednesday.
That's right.
Addresses math and reading.
Absolutely.
Resources.
So we do want to get that in as well. So that would be Chantel Modeste Literacy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's SHAUNTELLEMOD as in doctor.
Yes.
EST as in Tom E. Literacy, LITERACY.com.
Yes.
And we're going on to our DJ. So let's hear DJ JayP.
Saturday Praise Break Live. Remix, y'all. How many of y'all blessed and favored on this Saturday afternoon? Saturday Praise Break Live edition. St. John family, how y'all doing this Saturday?
Never let a day go by and I realize had not been for the Lord who was on my side, back was against the wall, looked out for me. He heard my cry and rescued me. Never let a day go by and I realize we are blessed. Don't take it for granted that we are here today.
Just know we're what?
And we're
Blessed.
and highly favored. Just know that we're blessed and
Come on, Dorinda, Clark, the Clark sisters back to back.
come on, put them together like this. Yeah. Come on, y'all. We're going to take everything back that the devil stole.
Give it back, devil. You might as well put your hands together this Saturday. Come on, y'all, let's have a Holy Ghost good time today, Saturday. Praise Break Live.
Put them together. I got joy in my soul. God is in control.
Come on, y'all, we need some joy, some joy, some joy.
All is well. He's attacking every day. I pray, no matter the attack, I won't turn back.
This means war.
This means war. This means war. This means war. Put them together. I got choice. Come on.
Hezekiah. How many of y'all know we gonna make it?
Check this. I was down to my last time, but Jesus stepped in right on time. I sure been sick and I couldn't get well, but he healed my body and I can tell that
I think we gonna make it, y'all. How many of y'all just want to praise him?
In the corners of my mind, I just can't seem to find a reason to believe that I can break free. 'Cause you see, I have been down for so long, feel like all hope is gone. But as I lift my hands, I understand that I should praise you through my circumstance.
Take the shackles off my feet. How many of y'all know it's not about us, it's about Jesus? Come on, y'all, it's not about us.
About it, you don't have to wonder, you don't have to worry, you stress out for no reason, but I come to tell you that God is the strength of my life.
How many of y'all know God is?
Forever. Come on, put your hands together, come on.
Come on, Miss Glenda, put your hands together.
This is a simple song, we're going to have y'all singing with us, all right?
Come on, Willie, put your hands together.
Say this. God is
Mr. Nithya, put your hands together.
and my portion forever. Say
Can I get my host to put their hands together today?
strength of my heart and my portion forever. Say yes, he is. He is my portion. Yes, he is forever. Help me say God. Yes, he is. He is my portion. Portion forever. Now the writer penned it. He said, my heart was wounded. I was
else in heaven. There's nobody on the earth. Because God, my desire is to be with thee. Now come on, can you make some noise in this place that God is the strength of your heart, and he is your portion forever.
Yeah, we got to be optimistic. Optimistic. The sounds of blackness, y'all. Y'all know we got to be optimistic. How many of y'all know the blood still works? Saturday Praise Break Live. We're going to kick it back to our host.
We are back live at Saturday Praise Break. Today is August 22nd. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, DJ JayP. All right. Loving that music. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I am speaking with Chantel Modeste, who is the mother of a published author. But here's the kicker. The author is 10 years old. She is her daughter, and that is Madeline Modeste. And we're talking about education here in this last segment of our Saturday Praise Break Live. Be sure to ask your questions on our Facebook page. We are receiving your questions. We want that interaction, and all questions are welcome. So, Chantel, one of the questions that came in on Facebook is a pretty loaded question, and that is about 504 accommodation plans. So let me just, for our audience members who may not have children, a 504 plan is a plan that is federally mandated for students that may have special needs. The intent of the plan is to make sure that no child is left behind. And so under that federal legislation, there is an accommodation for children who may not be keeping up with their peers in the classroom. And so as a result, there is a plan put in place, often offered to parents, not necessarily forced upon them, but offered to parents, and many times parents feel very, very pressured to accept those plans for their children. So one of the things that is quite a challenge for many parents is whether or not to allow a child who may not necessarily need an extended accommodation as to whether or not to accept that, to accept the plan, and is there going to be stigma associated with the acceptance of the child being on that plan?
Okay. And that is such a loaded question. One thing that I would note from the top is just know that the 504 plan is just that, a plan, which is short term. Your child should not be on a 504 plan throughout the duration of their schooling. And sometimes that happens because parents don't know.
They don't know that it has a begin date and an end date.
It should end.
And so it's a continual thing sometimes that many parents are not sure exactly when should this end. In fact, it happened with me. My niece, my older sister's daughter, who after the death of my sister, my niece came to me on a 504 plan as a 10th grader. And in fact, I had no background for why she was on the plan. I knew that there were no learning disabilities. I knew, however, that her mother had been sick when she was very young, and she should have come off of the plan much sooner than in 10th grade.
And that's one of the problems as I talk and conversate with parents. they ask this question too about 504 and SPED services. You have to be your child's best advocate. I would say make sure you do all the research you can. You will go into a meeting and you'll be around this big table with the school's principal, the school's admin. I know I was the RTI, I was on this RTI facilitator in Louisville Independent School District for years before I started homeschooling Madeline. And so I was the point of person for reading on that team. But oftentimes I see parents just overwhelmed with the education lingo and they didn't know what to ask. They were afraid to ask. But you have to advocate for your child.
But and many times too, there's a whole panel
Yes.
of people. It's you, it's your child,
Yes.
it's the principal, the assistant
counselor.
principal, and everyone has produced their own reports.
Yes.
So you've got a report from the science teacher, the math teacher, the social studies teacher, the ELA, English language arts teacher, and even the
Input from
PE
every-
teacher.
every
And so they
contact.
have come together at the table to say, listen, and many times they're all in agreement. And it's just you trying to say, wait a minute, my child is not, can perform better.
Exactly.
And perhaps the issue is something else other than what we're thinking it is here.
Exactly. And I would just say, and I shared this story before I pulled Madeline. There was many factors that led me to start homeschooling her, but Madeline was a little behind in math, and so I had to go into a 504, into a committee of 504, and I was in the committee as parent, and I knew the background of all these things that we're talking about, but at that moment I was parent. And I spoke up and advocated for my child, and their concern was her having accommodations for the STAR testing. And I looked all them in the eye and said, I'm not worried about STAR testing. I'm worried about my child learning. So that's what their most teams will focus on, whether or not, but I just can't stress that you have to know your child's strengths, go in and forcefully let them know, this is what my child is doing at home. Now, we need to discuss why what I'm seeing at home, they're not replicating at school. And so just put it back on, they're the professionals there. You know, what have you retaught my child? So you have to almost go in well-researched in all of these things before you ever meet with that team who's trying to identify your child as 504. Because it does follow, it's a plan that follows them until they come off of that plan.
It does. Would you say there's an overrepresentation or in terms of identification of children of color, an overrepresentation of children of color
It
on
is.
504 plans?
It is. The research bears it to be true. It is most definitely an overrepresentation of children of color. I can't run away and deny that that's a fact. I've seen it just anecdotally, just from what I see out in the school systems, and I know it to be true. It most definitely is an overrepresentation of children of color.
Right. And we do have to be our children's advocates, and we do have to go into the system and say, okay, what can I do, and what are my alternatives?
Exactly.
Are there alternatives to the child being on the 504 plan? Thank you so much for that question, Facebook user. We are on Praise Break Live. Thank you for joining us. And so let's also look at, we have a group here at church, SJC Educators Connect, who are wanting to connect and wanting to be a resource, not just for our parents in the community, but a resource for themselves as well. And so this group is going to be offering peer support, and they will be meeting on Zoom on Thursday at 7 p.m. So please go to our website to register for, and the group again is SJC Educators, SJC Educators Connect. So we're looking forward to that group meeting just this Thursday. Also coming up on August 29th is going to be the second installment for the HBCU series that we have going on. The HBCU Summit is the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Summit that is a three-parter who we're looking at bringing educators from historically black colleges and universities to speak with our students in the DFW area about their college choices. So the topic for this weekend coming up is going to be what is life like on the yard? So that should be pretty exciting. And no child is too young for that conversation. So we're actually looking forward to having our audience join us on our SJBC Family Facebook page. So please join us on Saturday at 1 p.m. for that conversation. That's Saturday, August 29th. So one of the final questions is going to be looking at some of the challenges that parents are having with schooling at home. We are in this pandemic, and I think none of us as parents or educators expected to be essentially homeschooling or being our children's teachers at home. And that is causing some anxiety. And so you are going to talk about that coming up on your podcast on Wednesday.
Yes, a live webinar.
Live webinar.
So I do have a live webinar, and it's titled 6 Math and Reading Resources to Help Reduce Your Anxiety during this virtual learning.
For parents.
For parents.
Yes.
For them, with the kind of resources. There's a math tutor that will be on with me from New York. But she's a wonderful math tutor, so she's the math. I'm all reading and literacy, and she's all math. And so we're going to tag team and try to bring, PDFs and different things that they can, hopefully parents can print off and take with them as they work with their child at night to help prevent them from falling behind.
Right, and that is the big concern. Is my child falling behind? Is there a way, if we were in the classroom, we would actually use assessment as a determination for whether a child is keeping up with that content or whether a child is in fact falling behind. As a parent, how do you recognize whether or not your child is falling behind?
Well, and I think I will probably offer different resources such as writing and reading rubrics for my portion of the workshop that I will be on. So it's important to grade level needs for your child. And yes, that is a webinar. If you go to my website, it's www.chantelmodestliteracy.com. And I believe there's a little pop-up. You go to websites and it prompts you to pop and enter your email address. But the Zoom registration link is there on my website. And hopefully parents who are watching can hop on to the webinar. It's a live webinar. So it's on Zoom. You'll see me on Zoom about an hour, 6 o'clock, this upcoming Wednesday. And so some of the resources I plan to offer will be assessments, writing and reading rubrics. So you as a parent can know, well, this is the grade level expectations for my 5th grader. So that's the first step, to know what should your 5th grader, 3rd grader, 8th grader be expected to know by the end of the school year. So that's a starting point to know what you as a parent should be doing at home to make sure that they don't fall behind.
Right, and I appreciate that, because as teachers and educators, obviously we have the TEKS.
Exactly.
And so we know exactly how we can kind of determine whether or not
as educators, exactly.
Yes. Well, that's going to be very exciting to hear those, to hear that podcast on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes, and that's Chantel Modeste Literacy. That's SHAUNTELLEMOD as in doctor, EST as in Tom, LITERACY.com.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to listening to that podcast myself.
Thank you.
And the teacher from New York, the tutor.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that math tutor?
Yes, her name is Latrell Jackson, and I've kind of found her in the online space because I'm an online reading tutor. I was kind of doing that kind of pre-COVID, and so she's an online math tutor. And so she's wonderful. She's this little teeny little thing. I kind of laugh at her, but she's wonderful at math. She's engaging, and she's kind of what, you were talking about children of color earlier, kind of what our children of color need. Our children love to be engaged and excited about reading, writing, and math. And so she will co-facilitate. I invited her on to co-facilitate this with me Wednesday.
That's very exciting. We're definitely looking forward to that. And so please join us on Saturday. We've got some upcoming events that Saturday. And then prior to Saturday, we've got your podcast coming up on Wednesday. So there are many opportunities for our parents to get engaged in your child's learning. Awesome. So we are going back now to DJ JayP. So we will see you guys then on Wednesday first and then on Saturday.
And thank you for having me on.
You're absolutely correct. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Madeline was a joy. So we are looking forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience. We appreciate you for logging in, and join us next Saturday for the same time, same place.
There's a blessing.
The St. John Church Unleashed Saturday Praise Break with DJ JayP.
So get ready. Get ready. It's already been. Listen, see, there's a healing in the room today. Are you ready? Get ready. It's already been released.
Praise God. He has a name that's above every name.
Let's get your praise on Saturday. Praise Break Live. I call you. Your name is holy.
You are so holy to me. Somebody say,
Somebody say it on this Saturday afternoon. Your name is holy.
holy you are, and the holy.
Come on, I want you to raise your voice.
Come on, raise your voice in here.
Let the world hear you here from the right church. Say, I call you holy. Say, I call you holy. Your name is holy. Your name is holy. You are so holy. Yes, I call you. Your name is holy.
Good morning. I had a good night's sleep and did
How many of y'all looking forward to Sunday morning? Sunday morning. Mary, Mary.
start with prayer.
The preacher preaching.
Then get ready.
The choir singing.
Gotta get there. Soon as I get through the door, my hands up, feet off the floor. 'Cause all the saints, we go to work. That's how we do it down at my church. Ushers march, choir sing, kids playing a tambourine, preachers preaching, the mothers praying. Sunday best morning we ain't praying. I've been working hard since.
Dallas Fort Worth Mass Choir. I'd rather have Jesus. How many of y'all got a testimony this Saturday? Give me your testimony. Anthony Brown, we need a testimony. Come on, y'all.
You're redeemed. Yeah. Here we go.